Bonsoir. Bonsoir tout le monde. Bonsoir, good evening, et bienvenue à tous et toutes. Welcome to the 19th annual Bravo Gala, McGill's celebration of research excellence. And I counted back, and I think this must have started, well, Denis Terrien said it was his good idea. So it was when he was the vice president of research, for those of you who remember him. I'm Martha Crago. I'm the vice president of research and innovation at McGill, and I'm delighted to be with you this evening. McGill is on the land which has long served as a site of meeting and exchange among Indigenous people, including the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe nations. And we acknowledge and thank the diverse Indigenous people whose presence marks this territory on which peoples of the world now gather. I have my own personal acknowledgement that I need to make. I want to acknowledge the Inuit, the Uishtikri, the Algonquin, and the Haudenosaunee homes and schools who welcomed me and my students and taught us many things about their languages, their culture, their classrooms, how to raise their children to be members of their community and culture. Now, to a boring piece of housekeeping. If you haven't turned off your cell phones, please do so. So tonight we're here, and this is my last Bravo and our new president's first Bravo. So it's a special celebration that honors the achievements of a group of individuals who in 2023 received national or international recognition for their research and scholarship. C'est une grande joie pour moi d'accueillir les lauréats et je tiens à souhaiter tout particulièrement et chaleureusement le bienvenue à leurs invités. Une équipe loyale qui les soutient, les confrères chercheurs, les collègues, les étudiants et stagiaires, les proches et les mentors. Mentors. Je suis ravie de voir autant d'invités distingués de McGill réunis ici pour célébrer les accomplissements remarquables de notre communauté de recherche. So we have an exciting ceremony planned for you, and it features this year, and maybe for the first time, a musical performance, and you'll learn why, and a panel discussion among the award-winning honorees. But before we begin that, let me first welcome our President and Vice Chancellor, Professor Deep Saini, to his very first Bravo. And he'll now say a few words.
Good evening, everybody. Let me fix this first. Yeah. Deal with the technology first. Now you can hear me. I can hear you. I can hear you, hear me. Yeah. Bienvenue au Gala Bravo. If you've never seen a kid in the candy store, you're looking at him. Today is my day of kid in the candy store. I'll share with you that earlier today at lunchtime, I met with 91 finalists for the John McCall McBain scholarships. And they came from all over the world, and they invited here for the interviews. And that I spent an hour with them. 30 of them will go on to receive the scholarship, and many more will end up at McGill. And that hour for me was my first episode of Kid in the Candy Store. This one is second. And I was talking with somebody outside that, people talk a lot about all the strange thing that have been happening in here for McGill and other, especially English universities, for the last few months. And people ask me constantly, how are you feeling? It's like as if I just had a cardiac arrest. But I will tell you that is only about 5% of what happens at McGill and in my own life. But it ends up, unfortunately, getting 95% of the airtime. 95% of what happens at McGill is present in this room. This is what makes it an absolute joy to be fortunate enough to serve this great institution. So to share this very celebratory evening with you is truly a great honor. The award-winning researchers we are celebrating tonight are among the absolute top-tier talent in our community and beyond, and I'm so inspired and so impressed by what they do and what they accomplish. In all our faculties and schools, these remarkable individuals have demonstrated their commitment to excellence before everything else, and to pushing the boundaries of knowledge. They have propelled their fields forward and have also motivated countless others in our community and beyond to themselves relentlessly pursue their quest for knowledge and discovery. In 2023, McGill's researchers were awarded more than 120 prizes and awards, and these include, and I'll share only a few with you just to make the point, the Order of Canada, L'Ordre National de Québec, the Royal Society of London Fellowship, AI Researcher of the Year Award, the World's Children's Award Prize for the Rights of Child, the Canada Gairdner Early Career Investigator Award, 15 Royal Society of Canada Fellowships. That's the largest cohort awarded to any university in Canada this year. And these are just a few examples, only a tiny sample of what actually happened. So I urge you, if you haven't already done that, please do consult your program for the complete list. It is impressive. And there's one person I particularly want to single out, though she could not be with us here tonight. I would like to extend special congratulations to McGill's own Dr. Brenda Milner, age 105. So in 2023, she was inducted to the Canada Walk of Fame. So congratulations, Dr. Milner, wherever you are. I hope she's listening. It is vital that we share the amazing discoveries and innovations that are generated by McGill's researchers with the rest of the world. That is so, so critical. Never before have I been more conscious of it than I became over the past 5 months. It is critical for us. It's critical, not just for our own future, but I believe the future of this province, future of the country, and beyond, that we actually tell the world what happens inside universities, any university, but especially a university like McGill. And I want to single out another group of people, and that is, I won't mention the names, but I will mention some names. But I want to mention them because these are the awards that were announced, that were named only after the Bravo program went to print. Now we'll hopefully get it right next year. And I would like to mention the winners of the President's Prize for Public Engagement through Media. So that was, my previous comment was the segue to it. And these awards recognize outstanding achievement among members of McGill community who share their knowledge with the media and the public. So let me name these. Prize for Groups, Canadian Advisory of Women Immigrants, Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. Prize for Graduate Students and Postdoctoral Fellows, Anas Ramili, Postdoctoral Researcher at the Department of Natural Resource Sciences at the Faculty of Agriculture and Environmental Sciences. Prize for Emerging Researchers, Anna Kim, Associate Professor, and Peter Broidy, sorry. Am I saying the name right? Is Peter here? Peter Broidy, yeah. Faculty Scholar in Entrepreneurship at Desautels Faculty of Management. Prize for Established Academics, Henry Mintzberg, the John Cleghorn Professor of Management Studies at Desautels Faculty of Management. And the Changemaker Prize Barry Eitlin, Associate Professor, Department of Sociology, Faculty of Arts. Alors, congratulations, félicitations to all and each one of you on your amazing accomplishments. Nous savons que derrière chaque prix se trouve un chercheur exceptionnel, ainsi que la famille, les amis, les collègues et les étudiants qui contribuent à son travail, le soutiennent et l'inspirent au quotidien. Ce soir, nous rendons également hommage à ces personnes qui apportent leur soutien. On this note, I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank one of McGill's greatest champions for research and innovation, our Vice President, Martha Crago, who will conclude her mandate as Vice President at the end of June. You know it, but to state the very obvious and well-known, Professor Crago has made it her life's work to develop a healthy ecosystem for research in Canada and at McGill, the fruits of which have included many things, but let me highlight a few. A dramatic increase in research funding over the 7 years that she's been here. Securing the largest research grant in McGill's history through the Canada First Research Excellence Fund. Establishing a variety of new local and international research partnerships. And recruiting some of the most renowned scientists and scholars to McGill through the Canada Excellence Research Chair and Canada 150 Research Chairs program. Her leadership during the COVID-19 pandemic ensured that despite significant obstacles, McGill's researchers could continue to pursue their research, including making significant contributions to the global effort to understand, prevent, and treat COVID-19 and its impacts. Professor Crago, your passion, your dedication, and expertise have inspired all of us in this room and beyond. And I want to make it very personal. So when I was at Dalhousie, as you know, Martha had the same role at Dalhousie before she came here. So I arrived at Dalhousie, and I knew about Martha Crago, but I did not know her personally. But for some reason, multiple times people would say, once they got to know me, and I don't know what it was at that point, people would say to me, it would have been so much fun to see you and Martha together. Right? And they would say over and over, yeah, Deep, I can't imagine what it would have been like to see you and Martha together here. Little did I know that I will end up here, and then very soon after I arrived here, I found out what they meant. It's been an absolute honor and a pleasure to work with you, Martha. I tell you that I feel, at least at the work level, that we are two long-lost siblings who didn't even know that the other one existed. So thank you so much, and we owe you a lot, Martha. Nous avons beaucoup à célébrer ce soir. So that's generally, when you say something like that, that's generally an indication that a big mouth like me should get out of the way and let people celebrate. So we have a wonderful night of celebration ahead, as Martha said, including a musical performance and a panel discussion. So let me just finish by once again saying to our research award winners at McGill, we are so, so proud of you. You make McGill what it is. Alors, bravo et félicitations et merci beaucoup.
So now I'm going to invite to the stage some researchers that'll take part in a little discussion that I'll help lead with them. So let me introduce them, and I guess as I introduce you, why don't you come up and take a seat in whatever order. I gather that that seat is mine. And yes, you can find. Now, wait a minute. Yes, we got the right number of chairs. Okay, Samira Rahimi is an assistant professor in the Department of Family Medicine and an associate member of the Faculty of Dental Medicine and Oral Health. And she's a Canada Research Chair in Advanced Digital Primary Health Care. And in 2023, she received the AI Researcher of the Year Award from Women in AI. Nicholas Cowan is an associate professor in the Departments of Physics and Earth and Planetary Sciences and the Canada Research and Planetary Climate. In 2023, he received the Arthur B. MacDonald Fellowship from the Natural Sciences and Engineering Research Council of Canada. Miriam Deneuve is a professor in the School of Social Work and a Canada Research Chair in Children, Families, and Armed Conflict. In 2023, she was made a Fellow of the Royal Society of Canada. And Jennifer Ronham is an Associate Professor in William Dawson Scholar in the Departments of Food Science and Agricultural Chemistry and Animal Science, a Canada Research Chair in Agricultural Microbiology. In 2023, she received the McGill's President's Prize for Outstanding Emerging Researchers. So congratulations, all four of you. You can see that they come from very different research areas, but surely must have some kind of shared understanding of both the challenges and the opportunities and the responsibilities that come with being at the forefront of knowledge discovery and dissemination. So now I'm going to sort of plague them with some questions. So I'm going to start with Professor Rahimi because I am what I call a techno-peasant. I'm really truly digitally challenged. And persistence is one of the hallmarks of what it takes to be good in research because there are challenges that we confront. So for every advance we make, we often have to overcome a challenge. You're an expert in advanced digital health technologies. So can you tell us a little bit more briefly about your work and then describe some of the most difficult aspects of your research and how you overcome those challenges? And I always have this imaginary notion that I would be a participant in your research and present a challenge to you.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here and be in this panel to share my research journey and challenges as a start. So my research area is on application of AI in primary healthcare setting and its implementation in clinical practice. So one of the areas that I faced, let's say, call it the area that we need to improve in our healthcare system is about infrastructure and system and data readiness that we have. It's not a primary healthcare it's not a primary healthcare issue, but it's broader in healthcare system that we are facing. And I remember one of the projects that I've been doing in CHSLD, and I went for a visit in that CHSLD for a field visit, and then I started to ask, okay, what type of data you have, what's your digital infrastructure, and so on. And they took me for a room full of papers that, okay, these are our patients' files, and all of the data are here. So you can imagine digitalizing all of those papers was a marathon project itself. So, and after that, we were able to, start an AI project and developing an AI model for it. So that was one of the challenges. And the second challenges is, or the area that we need to improve is about the human readiness and implementation side of it, and how clinicians and healthcare providers are seeing AI, and there are all aspects related to the implementation. You know, you can build a all shiny, high-performance AI model, and all is great. But if it's not being implemented in real clinical practice, so that's the area that we have to work on. So it doesn't have any benefit to the society. So we have to work on implementation part of it, and one of our studies showed that among all of AI system that's been developed in primary healthcare, over 90% of it just stuck in pilot testing, and very few went to the implementation part. So there are a lot that we need to work on, including working on aspects related to the trust around AI and the fears that sometimes comes with regarding to AI, and also misinformation around AI and what it can do and what it cannot do. So those are the aspects that I highlight just briefly.
Well, I'm not going to invite you to my office. And I just wanted to know if they showed you the fax machine in these healthcare settings. One of the things I've never recovered from in the way we do our business in healthcare in Quebec. So thank you for that. And I can see the challenges, but I don't think Nicholas Cowan faces any challenges. He only faces fun. So what's the most fun part of your research?
So I study exoplanets for context. So it's completely useless, and it's a lot of fun. So for me, the funnest part of my job is basically being at the blackboard with grad students, noodling around, trying to figure things out. Like the best case scenario, student comes in with a plot that she's made on her laptop. She shows it to me. I'm like, that can't be right. She's like, I've triple checked it. I'm like, I don't know. I don't think that's like physically possible. So then we go and we start drawing like cartoons and maybe like write a few equations on the blackboard. And then like 9 times out of 10, it's like, yeah, that's actually physically impossible. And like, please go and like quadruple check it. But every once in a while, it's like, oh, like I guess that might work that way. And then that's like the moment we've just like learned something about how planets work, basically. So that's fun. And I think it's like a good experience for the students to go. I mean, that's where they start becoming like kind of like a real scientist. You know, they're not just looking something up in a textbook. They're like learning new stuff about nature. So yeah, for me, that's why I get up in the morning and go into work I have like multicolored chalk, and I like to go to the blackboard and just like do stuff with students. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm glad we're still at the chalk and blackboard stage. I love it. Because I can see why that's fun. That's great. Now, Miriam, your research deals in a difficult area of our society. And so I got thinking about it and thinking, how do you stay motivated and willing to expose yourself to the difficulties that you see in doing that research?
So I'm particularly inspired by the children and families that I get to work with. A lot of my work touches on the issue of child soldiers, and particularly girls in armed groups, and what happens to these girls over the long term. And many of the girls that I work with have been abducted and have spent many of years of their life in the context of an armed group, where they've suffered horrendous forms of violence. And when they leave the armed group, many of them have had children that have been born of sexual violence. So in many cases, when they return to their families in the community after the war, they often meet with stigma and rejection and multiple forms of violence because of their former affiliation with an armed group. And these forms of stigma also affect their children, so they're intergenerational issues that are at play as well. And in fact, these girls also have to live with the immense guilt given the violence that they themselves participated in. So there are many challenges, and yet despite these challenges, these girls make their way, and they manage to raise their families, become leaders in their community. They speak out against violence, and in many cases, they support and advocate for other youth who are in similar situations. So many people always say to me, it must be very difficult, the work that you do in conflict settings and post-conflict contexts. But I actually feel very fortunate for the work that I do because I get to work with these incredibly inspiring young people who are courageous and make their way and build their lives and rebuild their lives in the absence of violence.
Thank you. Thank you for that. So, Jennifer, your research significantly contributes to public health and really to food safety and ensuring that what we can eat safely. So what is the most pressing challenge right now in your field, and how do you navigate it?
Yeah, thank you for having me, and thanks for asking that. So I try really hard to straddle the line between agricultural science and medical science in terms of infectious disease. And I think one of our biggest challenges right now is actually complacency. In the last 100 years, we've made enormous progress in reducing the mortality of infectious disease in humans and in agricultural animals. And this progress has been muchly on the back of both antibiotics and vaccines. But we're entering this new era now where a lot of our antibiotics have stopped working and will continue to stop working. And at the same time, we're facing vaccine rejection at almost, unprecedented rates. And in terms of complacency with the vaccine rejection, I think we've been complacent in not addressing the misinformation that we've allowed to spread for the last decade. And this has had real-world consequences. We have a measles outbreak in 2024 in Montreal. And this is, devastating. But at the same time, there was a recent survey in the States that indicated about 50% of people are asking their vets if they have to vaccinate their animals against rabies. And measles is bad, but rabies is really bad. So if we continue on this path of vaccine rejection, that's one thing. To address this, I run an NSERC Create where we're teaching infectious disease microbiologists skills in communications so that they can actually go out there and start addressing this. And then with antibiotic resistance, we've put a lot of effort on the human side, but I think we've been somewhat complacent on the agricultural side and had very little development in other growth promoting and other infectious disease controlling technologies for agriculture. So I think we have to break through this complacency and come up with more technologies if we want to keep eating 3 meals a day. And my research deals with this by trying to create probiotics and create ways to manipulate the animal microbiome to make them more resistant to infections without disease. But I can't stress enough, we can't become complacent in terms of agricultural research in the future.
Okay, thank you very much. Now I'm going to challenge all 4 of you to something, but I'm going to start and go backwards. And I recently had to be in an event where I had to do like the 3-minute thesis prize, 1 slide, 3 minutes. So you've got like sort of 30 seconds here to say, what's going to be happening in your field in 25 years from now? If you think about 2050, where's your field going?
I hope we have solutions for antibiotic resistance by then. But I think one of the cool things that we'll be dealing with, and one of the kind of scary things too, is persistent infections. Earlier this century, there was like typhoid Mary and a persistent infection that we couldn't treat because we didn't have antibiotics, led to a woman being jailed for 3 decades. But we're kind of getting there again, but we're seeing the importance of persistent infections in COVID, and we're seeing it in agriculture with salmonella. So now we have the technology to look at how these evolve and to look at how they drive pathogen evolution. So I think over the next 25 years, pathogen persistent infections.
I can't wait to see the senior years of your career. Great. Miriam, what's going to happen out there in the future?
So I think when we project in our respective fields, we often hope that there will be improvement and evolution and progress. And I have to say that I'm actually quite concerned about my field and where we are and where we're going. Currently we have enormous amount of knowledge and research, laws in place, policies in place to protect children in armed conflict, and we're failing children miserably. There are over 500 million children living in conflict zones. And currently, we have several conflicts that are gaining our attention, and rightly so, and for good reason. But there are all kinds of conflicts that are happening that are prolonged and are not getting our attention, and those children and families are largely invisible. So I believe that my field needs to do a lot of reflective and stock taking with a lot of humility to figure out where we are and where we want to go. And it's, of course, my hope that in 25 years' time or 50 years' time, 100 years' time, that children will not be implicated in armed conflict. But I do feel that we need to be focusing far more on prevention and more community-based, community-driven, and people-centered approaches, and particularly ones where young people are part of the discussions and also part of the solutions.
Thank you for that. Nick?
Yeah, so my field is actually very young. So 25 years ago, we didn't know of planets orbiting other stars. So in 25 years from now, I can basically guarantee that we, like astronomers, will have declared that we found life on another planet. I can also guarantee that other astronomers will disagree and say that, no, it's actually like interesting geochemistry or photochemistry or something, but not biochemistry. I think more broadly, we will have learned something about why do we live around a yellow star? Like, what makes a planet habitable? Why don't we live around a red dwarf star, which is like most stars in the universe? So we will learn something about like kind of the boundary conditions for where life can exist. And maybe some people will believe that we've already found life somewhere else by then.
Okay, may they conduct themselves more peacefully, wherever they are. Okay, Samira.
Yeah, so in my field, we are using AI to predict, but it's difficult to predict where AI will go in the next 20 to 25 years, and it's growing so fast. But my hope is that with regard to its implementation in healthcare and primary healthcare, my hope is that we'll be able to learn and better implement these technologies for the benefit of patients, for the benefit of improving workflow of clinicians, and increase the awareness around what AI is and what it is not. And we are seeing a lot of inequalities in our community, in our healthcare system as well, in terms of access to care, fair healthcare system. So I'm hoping we will be able to use these technologies properly to improve equitable care for everyone, everywhere.
Thank you. Well, I feel like what I heard tonight was there's a lot of possibilities in our world. There are a lot of problems in our world. And the discovery of knowledge to help deal with those problems and those possibilities is really important to the future of us as a society and as part of a global community. So thank you for the work you do. Okay, thank you. So as you can see, and as we conclude this session, I want to once again express the kind of pride I have in the accomplishments, not just these four, but frankly, all of you who are award winners tonight, and your colleagues and your mentors. And you can see displayed on the screen behind me all the names of these 120 some people who have been contributing to the discovery of knowledge. Thank you also for your dedication to mentoring the next generation of scientists, scholars, and innovators and performers. It's an important thing that you do. So you exemplify the importance of research and innovation to McGill as a university, and some people will know that every once in a while I raise my hand and I said, don't forget the DNA of this university is its research. And I firmly believe that. It's research, it's development of the next generations of people. So you exemplify that. And frankly, I can't be prouder of what you've achieved than I am. And it's been with great pride that I've tried to serve you in the role as the Vice President of Research and Innovation. So it's been a real honor. It was an honor for me to return to the place where I first came in 1964. So it was a long time ago, and I've stayed connected here. And sometimes you see at homecoming a thing that says, "Welcome to homecoming," and I think, I come home every day. So it bears mentioning that these prizes and awards require a lot of work on the part of other people who do it for their colleagues. The writing of them, the crafting of them, the convincing of the award winners that they're worthy of an award. This takes a lot of work, and you have a set of colleagues in your faculties and in our offices where I work that really help with this. So I'm very grateful for all the people that nominate you. I said one day, it's free to nominate a person for an award, and it's a good news story. So as things get difficult in the university, I think the best solution is to nominate somebody for an award because they're likely to get it. That will be a good news story. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the people who actually make this event happen. So last night, I made a challenge to myself and I invited 2 nutritionists to supper. And you know, it's tricky. Like I wanted to take out my food charts, make sure I covered everything. One of them is Harriet Kuhlmein, who I would happy to stand up and wave to everybody. So Harriet is bringing you I'm a gift of the now retired and happily living on the West Coast, and she just received a living legacy from the International Nutritional Society, and I think it's pretty special to be a living legacy. And I hope that my legacy is that I cooked an edible dinner for her. So while I went, you know, Harry came into my house and said, "How could you be doing this tonight? You're running this big event tomorrow night." I said, "I do nothing for this event. I open my mouth, I read the words they wrote for me, and I try to put on a good smile." Because a whole set of other people do this. And Meredith, you really need to stand up. Meredith doing this. This single individual submits many, many, many of these nominations on behalf of the university. One person. And it's a remarkable job, and each year the numbers getting the awards keep increasing. So her award keeps increasing, but she's still one person. And she's now happily working with Laura Corey, who's a professor in the Faculty of Law, and actually a winner of the Raymond John Lashin Award for Law. So another awards winner. But responsible for this event is a whole nother team of people. Amanda Testani, Robin Koenig, Gingy Nishada, and Yuvalin Lazado, and Megan Thurston. And also been guided around tonight by an army of volunteers from my office who decided this was a good place to spend the evening. Next on the list, and I'm sure everybody's looking forward to this one, is a buffet dinner. This starts in the halls next door, and you take your food into the adjoining ballrooms where there's tables and chairs, and it's a good thing to sit with people you don't know. I met some great people at this event over the years, so enjoy the new and old colleagues, enjoy the food and the drinks. And then, before we all, I want to remind you of something. It's simple to remember, hashtag Bravo 2024. You can tweet something I have no idea how to do. Congratulations to the winners tonight. So I now invite all the awardees to stand up so the rest of us can all give you a round of applause.